Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop, Emerald Planet. All the ecology news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's your host, Executive Director of the Emerald Planet, Dr. Sam Lee Hancock.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we go to a planet with 9 billion souls on it, how are we going to be able to provide all the basic infrastructure as well as the energy, the water, the sanitation, all the basic needs that this humanity will need as we add actually 2 billion new people over the next 30 to 40 years. So looking at this, we have a gentleman sitting right beside me that actually has a very innovative look at what's going on as far as how to use one of the natural resources of the world. Many people know about all the fracking that's going on and increasing the oil and natural gas, and people are moving away from coal as being an energy source, particularly in the United States, but many other nations. But this gentleman, Dr. Daman S. Walia, who is the President CEO of ARCTECH Inc., is actually moving to coal. And it's very interesting, Daman, the work that you're doing, and I'm glad you're here. Actually, we'll have some time to talk about what it is that you're doing, but tell us a little bit about this organization, ARCTECH Inc.
Well, ARCTECH is a company I founded about 26 years ago from one of the aerospace company in Washington, D.C. area called Atlantic Research Corporation. We were their environmental science technology division, had become involved with looking at coal, how to utilize and use the microbes. And so we spun out and formed this as a separate company to go and advance the technology and take its applications into many, many different areas.
Well, I think it's fantastic what you're doing, and it's so interesting that you've actually, as the world's moving away, and we know why the world is doing it, particularly in countries like India and China, Brazil, Russia, South Africa, other places. But at the same time, you're saying that moving away from coal and using, say, natural gas, but definitely the renewables like wind and solar, hydrogen and others is the way to be going. But yet there's a much higher value chain that can be developed from coal. So tell us, what is that higher value added for coal, and what role do you see it playing as we go through the 21st century?
Well, the reason I have chosen to focus on coal, I've dealt with many feedstocks, but I decided to focus on coal because this still is the cheapest carbon we have.
Let's bring up this slide if we can, because I'd like to have this going in the background right now while we're talking about this. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because we're looking at all kind of materials, waste, waste materials from municipal waste or biomass, algae, and many of these things. Coal is one of the things which has been already made up for us. It's there. And
it's a true natural resource.
True natural resource,
and it's amazing. It's all over the globe, even though there's concentrations in the United States and like Australia and places like that.
Sure.
But still, it seems fairly well distributed around the globe.
Yeah, I call it that this is to be, this is an inclusive. If I were to kind of give you my little perspective. The oil and gas, some have it, some don't have it. So it's kind of divisive. We are kind of, facing this challenge worldwide. And the second, of course, the nuclear, is a, it has shown us its anger. So, but we need to tame it. And in fact, one of my products helps to make it safer. And the renewables are great. I think we're making a lot of big progress, but they are parochials. They are localized, and but the coal is available on every continent. And the slide you're looking at shows the amount of coal in all over. It's every place where they are continent, there is coal.
Yeah, it's just amazing looking at this, and if you look at North America and many other areas of the continent, I mean, it really is an abundant resource. But something that you have is this coal winning the battle of equity. What is that? What's the meaning of that?
Well, really, it's my, I guess, as I've tried, over the number of years to see what it really has been our big, issue, in terms of our humans. We have been in two battles from early on. The battle of equity of dignity, which is a personal issue. We get our dignity from family. A few lucky ones get from beyond family. But the equity of resources is a basic fundamental human necessity, and it's a societal issue. And the way I have a kind of different way of looking at things, maybe, and from the early inception, the first model was a strong man and a poor man. Strong man said, "I own the resources," but the poor said, "I'm here too," and he fought back. That approach, model failed. And then we had somebody said, "I'm born in such and such family, and by my family ownership, I own the resources," created a royalty and a subject. And they did not take care of, so that model failed. Then we had a landlord and a tenant scenario. Somebody said, by certain business ownership, I own the resources, and I'll provide it to you, but they did not, so that model failed. Then we created three forms of governance as a way to distribute equity. Our American model, the democratic capitalistic system, says here's a plain playing field. Anybody can come and get their equity as long as you play by the rules.
Yeah, looking at this equity, and we'll go back, I really like this graph you could put up here as far as the citizens of the world. You have the earth, and then you have the coal, but how does all this relate as far as the resource utilization? Because as the globe is warming itself in most of the areas, you're having much more violent climate change. Sure. It's really shaking societies all over the planet. Correct. And at the same time, we have all this greenhouse gas emissions into the environment. And what you're saying is, and it's really contrary to how people are thinking of things, use the coal to sequester even more carbon in the soils as a remediation. So how does this process work? Okay,
because just going back, we've not been able to win this equity of not only humans resource, but also our equity of planet is at stake, as you just described. And I kind of showing that here we have 7 billion people, 7 of us, poking around on this planet, and we can balance it on the globe. So if you look at what is our must-have for us, that must-have is our cleaner air, food, water, energy, as well as shelter. And same way for planet, we must have a product, it's fertile soils, water, clean air on it. And then of course, our others are wants and desires for us humans as well as for our, the planet. So what I'm trying to make a case that the coal, basically we've been always looking at it as a fossil fuel, but it's not. It's a derived from the plant matter, and it's rich in humic matter.
So now tell us what is humic. This
humic
is a term
matter
that you use all the time, every time we chat.
Right.
But most people in the public are not really familiar with this terminology, and it's an old Greek term, but it's been around a long time.
That is correct. It's fundamental to our existence. The word comes from the humus. Humus is called soil organic matter in the soils, which what makes our planet to be viable. We've gone poked around in other planets. We found just about all kind of other stuff, but this is one of the material we have not yet found. This is unique to our planet.
Looking at this supply chain, how does that relate then to the philosophy of your own organization, but way beyond that, the philosophy as you see it that should be spread around North America and around the globe, of how do we expand and we enhance the value of coal, but we're doing it from the standpoint of reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
Right.
We're doing it to increase the value of the soil, but at the same time clean the air and water. How do you balance all of that?
Okay. Well, what really this technology lends to an approach by which you can not only create a total value use of the coal, so there's no waste. We create energy as well as non-energy products, not only from mined coal but as well as from deep unminable coals. And so that these products can go into in improving the soil fertility. And what you're seeing on your screen right now is a photo from UN FAO's, where they are saying that our soils have been so depleted that with all the practices, the knowledge we have of the past 50 years will not be enough to feed the 9 billion people.
Well, we're talking about, and you and I have talked about this before, if you look at supposedly the research on the apple of 1940, the apple of, being in, the 2000s, is that you need 5 apples to equal the nutrients that was in 1940. And this photo here really exemplifies that. So how do we break that bond and move beyond so that we're actually adding value to the soil, but we're adding value to the nutrients we're taking in from both plants and animals? Well,
again, that's where my company is different. We're not only just doing a research, but we're putting these products into applications. And so again, going back to the soils, if you look at the total carbon storehouse of our planet, the number one are of course sedimentary rocks. Then we have fossil fuels. Then we have oceans. But the soils are the 4th largest storehouse of our carbon. And so we're creating a ways to and promoting its use of these coal-derived humic matter into replenishing the soils, increasing the productivity. And again, our basic approach is that this products we make, this adds a value, creates a value for the end users. And so this has gained quite a bit of acceptance. These products are now in use not only in USA, but in Egypt, in China, and Turkey, and many other countries. So
it's amazing that you're already spreading all over the globe, and at the same time trying to educate more people within your own home country now, the United States, about how to use that. We're almost running out of time. Tell us about this good bacteria, and then we're going to go out on that.
All right. Well, the source of this, our technology is, the microbes are from the termites. What you're seeing on the screen is a termite model, which shows that it has ability to take a variety of materials, convert into gas, as well as convert into humic-rich products. That's the basis of our technology. This is what the microbes look like.
This is just an amazing photograph. And so tell us about this, and we only have about 30 seconds. Where do you see your organization going over the next, say, 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, we are, pushing hard to increase the applications, and in probably next segment, you'll note that we have gotten many regulatory approvals. But we're trying to get the whole world to look at this approach and see this as a way to forward.
Well, Dr. Daman S. Walia is the president and CEO of ARCTECH, Inc., sharing about where we're going as far as actually moving back to coal, if you will, as far as a key natural resource as we move through the 21st century. Thank you for being with us on the Emerald Planet.
This is firstgov.gov, where we're obsessed with getting you government information.
Brand new student loan applications on the site, baby. This calls for a celebration. Where's your uncle?
So in the end, it was either take the astronaut gig or come work here. What can I say? Duty called.
Dude, that's my cop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's Sam's cop.
Oh, sorry?
Yeah. No. Sam's? No.
Just log on or email us and get what you need.
C, change of address form. That's how it's done.
D, driver's license renewal.
E, emailing Social Security information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice, we'll allow it. All right, Ed.
What are those? Government surplus cars for auction.
You posted those online last time.
No, you did.
I'm posting them online this time.
For all your government information, firstgov.gov.
Oh, what have we got here? Sometimes you feel tired. You can't seem to lose those extra pounds off your midsection. And your joints hurt when you take the stairs. Well, you're getting older. But I'm happy to say that there's some simple things we can do to keep you happy and healthy for years to come. We can also lower your risk for some serious diseases the older population is often subject to. Proper nutrition is more important than ever. Your body has changed, not as many treats. A basic exercise plan, lots of walks and fresh air, and most importantly, come and see me for twice yearly checkups to help ensure the best possible quality of life. Now, how does that sound? Good boy.
Improve the quality of life for your elderly pet. Schedule twice yearly checkups that include preventive care and regular lab work. A message from the veterinary members of the American Animal Hospital Association.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. as we're looking for those 1,000 best practices, as we say, the best of the best as we move through the 21st century. How are we going to take care of a planet that's adding 2 billion new souls by 2050, and by the end of the century, there may be a total of 12 to 13 billion people. Yes, 12 to 13 billion. That's a lot of souls to take care of, to be able to feed and house and provide the energy that they need. And I have a gentleman sitting right beside me who's actually spent his professional career looking into how we're going to be able to take care, not only to just nurture and take care of the folks that are here, but actually to enhance their quality of life. And this goes to the source of energy. Even though we have to have water to exist, without energy, many times it's almost impossible to have the water or the food and all the other sustenance that we need. This is Dr. Daman S. Walia. He's here in the studio with me, President and CEO of ARCTECH, Inc. And Daman, it's been a real pleasure to get to know you, and every time I get with you, it's just almost like an encyclopedia and a history book all at the same time that you're sharing. So thank you for being so open and so knowledgeable.
Sure. Mm-hmm. No, I'm pleased to have this opportunity to share information with you and your audience.
And you know, the interesting thing about you, and this is what's been so intriguing, is that as we're moving forward through the 21st century and we're moving away from coal as a primary source of energy, you're actually going the other way and saying coal as a natural resource is really what we need to be embracing, but in a very different, novel, and unique manner than what we've looked at it in the past.
That's correct.
We've been looking at it, well, Industrial Revolution, we had to have it, everybody loved it. Then it's a nuisance, and now you're saying it could be the very essence as far as food and fiber and fuel as we go forward, and fuel in a very different way. So tell us a little bit about your company, ARCTECH, and then why coal as a resource that you feel that really should be embraced as we move through the 21st century?
Well, ARCTECH again is a company which has been focused on biotechnology approach for solving the problems. And my background, almost 40 years now, goes into coal. And I failed about 5-6 times in my career trying to tame coal with the traditional thermal and chemical technologies. So I chose to, take this approach of using biotechnology and developed a team and provided the resources to utilize these microbes to convert coal. And why coal? As I mentioned before, that it's the lowest cost carbon in the planet, and it's available to everyone, and it's something we believe we can tame, and this can actually give us a way forward for not only meeting the human needs, but also protecting the planet.
Now, looking at this, I know you have these portable units, and actually you're putting these in many different areas, but
right.
Near where the cold source is.
Right.
And you're using, a special type of bacteria
right.
and termites, which is a very interesting combination that you have. So tell us what these trailers right here, this type of process, represent, and then how is this actually advancing what it is that you're doing to provide a number of unique products that then is being shared all over the globe.
Right. Well, we're not using the termites, but the termite, using the microbes derived from the termites, what we had done was, as we know, termites eat wood, and we kind of trick them on eating coal by providing them a sawdust.
Do they go yuck, or they say, hey, we like this stuff?
Well, some of them survived, and we took the microbes out of the termites, and they are really nature's full gasification plants. And what you're seeing there on the photo is, I jokingly call it that this is a big termite. Because on the green one is where we have the front end crushing equipment like termite jaws to break down, and then we have where we take a small amount of microbes from a research lab and grow them into bigger quantity, and they digest the coal to produce gas. And then any coal which is left over from the green, your emerald colored trailer or module goes into the blue one, where we have another group of microbes which are aerobic microbes. They digest that material and produce humic acid. And from that we make a product, one used for agriculture application, another one used for water treatment, third product used for using to convert bombs and explosives into fertilizer. So there's a zero waste. 100% of coal gets utilized. And we are operating a plant here in USA, in Virginia, and you can see that photo of one of the product. Dr. Wolf, who is one of my mentors, got me going on coal for a number of years ago, is showing. We're shipping this product in large containers, shipments going into Egypt. It goes into totes and other, So it's a product which is commercially, in use.
Well, looking at this, and this is all the various organizations I've looked at and actually have approved the product and all that, but I'm going to skip back up here, going back to the actual production of all this and using the various bacteria from literally the gut of the cockroaches that we're talking about. So this is actually scalable, so you can actually take and make very specialized products, which we've been seeing here, but also it can be at a very large scale.
That is correct.
So you can help entire countries, like you say, you're shipping into Egypt and India and China to actually address their need to remediate the soil.
That is
so
correct.
What has been happening over the last, say, 150 years that's caused this depletion of the nutrients and is decreasing the value of the very food that we're eating, both for ourselves and the plants and animals that we share this planet with?
Well, of course, Sunday, the whole human civilization has been, based on agriculture, and we've been, utilizing the soil, put a seed, and we germinate, and out of that we get our food. So, of course, with the modern agriculture, there's been excessive use. But the humus, of course, it's is the fundamental to the soil fertility. It comes from the Greek word. And even I come from India, so I went looking into our Vedic literature, and I found reference to it, that this is the soul or the juice of the soil. It connects the living, non-living to the living. So there's a huge importance. There's a worldwide scientist who've been studying the humic substances, but our modern agriculture has been based on using chemicals. And these really started after the World War II, because we had built large factories to make explosives and other of these chemicals, and so we achieved a green revolution, 50s, the combination of use of chemicals, other things, but nobody's been paying attention to the soils.
Yeah, and that's very unfortunate, because as you travel around the globe, like your home country of India, there's millions of hectares of land now that's lying absolutely fallow.
That's correct.
Because it's been depleted of its nutrients. And then with all the irrigation, it's bringing salts into it. And so you're poisoning the soil at the very time when the population is expanding beyond even what China has, going to 1.4 billion people in India.
Yeah, so coal is the cheapest
So you
source.
got to have it. You got to have it.
Yeah,
so tell us about these plants that we're looking at here, and how is that a catalyst to expand so it's a large-scale operation and not just a specialty niche product?
Right. Yeah, but what you're seeing there is our concept of building these biorefineries. One of the challenge in any biological processes are they're slower processes than our traditional thermal and chemical. So I need to give a lot of time to these microbes to digest the coal. And so we have come up with this very low-cost monolithic dome construction systems, and I want to even put some solar systems on it to provide a little bit heat to the microbes. So these are
that will actually then as a catalyst for them to be even more active.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah. So these plants, we can build them cheaper, and they don't require billions of dollars of investments like these traditional coal-based technologies have been requiring. And so they produce all the products. The footprint is relatively small, not a big issue. And you create a zero waste. So my whole life is around that. I don't want to create any waste. In fact, even in my plant in Virginia, only drain we have is the toilet. There's no liquid waste, no solid waste coming out of that plant.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And we're talking about everybody's trying to reduce their carbon footprint, and people are looking at how much they're generating when they're in the aircraft and what they're doing in their own home, driving to work. You're dealing in coal, and you're saying, I have a zero carbon footprint.
Well, not only zero, negative carbon footprint.
Yeah, but looking at this plant here, this is really fascinating, this advanced technology. So you could actually locate these at the source of the coal.
That is correct.
In countries all over the planet.
That
so
is
this
correct.
could be in Australia, and Argentina, and South Africa,
That's correct.
Brazil, all these places, and actually creating new jobs and an opportunity to take the product you're producing and put it right back in the soil in those very areas.
Right. Well, not only it's taking a mine coal, but also we'll build at places where we can then inject these microbes into the unminable coal. Because there's about 9 times more coal, which still is at very deep depths all over the world. And that's a tremendous resource we need to monetize.
Yeah, and looking at this chart, how does this fit into the schema as far as these plants are concerned, and then also how to actually extract? Because you're saying there's trillions of dollars of value locked into the coal. As long as we keep burning it, we're never going to realize.
That's
so we're
correct.
actually wasting the very resource that we have.
Yeah, but only, currently with our approach, we're getting only about 30 to 35% of the BTU of the coal gets utilized, rest of it going out as a CO2. So it's a really very inefficient approach, but we need it. I'm not saying we should stop using coal right now, because this still provides us the cheapest electricity. But we need to transition to the newer approach.
You're really doing this as a bridge, as I understand. It's like renewables right now. We're bridging from coal and crude oil, natural gas into renewables. There's always needs to be a bridge.
Well, I'm looking at this to actually provide a way forward for the 7th generation. As I shared with you, we have actually done an in-depth analysis to look at this approach, its impact on the Iroquois Indians' 7th generation based principle, which is about 140 years from now. And so we believe that coal will continue to play a major role. It should, and people all over the planet should benefit from it to sustain themselves as well as enhance this planet.
Well, we're running out of time. We have about 15 seconds. What do you see for the growth of ARCTECH?
Well, ARCTECH will continue to be the powerhouse of the research, and we have created a commercial side of our company, HUMAX companies. There are about 10 of them, and they will build these plants all over this world, and ARCTECH will continue to innovate, add new ideas and products.
Expand and grow. That's exciting, I tell you. This is Dr. Daman S. Walia, who is President, CEO of ARCTECH, Inc., Washington, D.C. area, as he looks around the globe and converting coal into new products, new value added to create new jobs as we look around the globe to create the Emerald Planet.
Too many women get hit by their boyfriends and husbands. Too many women are pressured into having unprotected sex. Half of the people in the world living with AIDS are women. It doesn't have to be this way. Together, we can change this reality. Let's strive for a world free of violence.
At Volunteers of America, we don't just give kids a way to stay off the streets. We give them the tools they need to reach their full potential. We don't just help the elderly receive needed care. We help them live life to the fullest. We don't just provide food for homeless individuals and families. We provide job training and placement so they can buy groceries. Volunteers of America is a national organization that for over 100 years has provided programs and services that allow people to overcome their challenges to become vital members of their community. At Volunteers of America, we don't just help people, we help people help themselves. Find out how you can support the programs that are working in your community. Contact Volunteers of America today. Call 1-800-899-0089.
Drivers face all kinds of distractions.
Guys, stop playing. No. 127 consecutive.
Before your wireless phone becomes one of them, stop. Drive safely. Keep your phone in easy reach and dial sensibly. In bad weather or traffic, call later and use a hands-free device. Remember, with wireless, safety is your call.
Art, a universal.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. One and some matches and that's no good. Listen to.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we're looking at 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the ways that we can actually propel innovation and sustainability and resiliency in all societies around the globe. Most of the world's population is moving from very rural areas into urban areas. Actually, within a country like Brazil that we feel like is actually a very rural society, over 87% of the people already live in urban areas. The United States, over 80%. And so this is happening around the globe to where by 2050, over 80% of the entire world's population will be living in urban areas. And so how are we going to transition so that we're providing them with the energy that they need to take care of all the basic infrastructure and the basic needs of a society that's going to go to 9 billion souls? We have a gentleman who is developing his company all around as capturing waste and capturing in a way that actually adds value added to the entire waste stream. This is Ken Newman. He is the president CEO of what's called the Berken Energy out of Fort Collins, Colorado. And our special guest sitting right beside me is Dr. Daman S. Walia, who is the president CEO of ARCTECH. So we have two powerful president CEOs together with us tonight. And Ken, welcome coming in by Skype. Thank you for being with us.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me today.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Tell us a little bit about Berken Energy, and then we're going to get into all this advanced technology that you've been created, and of course you complement very well what Daman is doing, so we're going to have a great discussion. But right now, Berken Energy, what is it and what's the start?
Yes, Berken Energy is a thermovoltaic manufacturing company that we basically have a solid state generators, and what we do, Sam, is we take heat and we create electricity with no additional fuels and no carbon or no emissions.
Well, I tell you, it's really fantastic that you're able to do that. And what you're saying is that it's incremental or a small amount that you can actually capture as far as the industrial or the natural resources process, but actually it can leap by 20, 25, 30%. So what is the technology that's allowing you to be able to do that?
Yes, the technology actually is it's something that we all use almost every day, but in essence the genesis for us was from NASA. They're actually thermopiles and thermocouples, which the thermocouples we use in our ovens and around the homes in that manner of fashion. And then with NASA, they use that to help power their Voyager satellites, their landers, such as the Moon rovers and the Mars rovers. And so for the past 7 years, we have been taking this device that's been, used in kind of remote corners of space, and now getting it to where it would be a product that could be used here, and mass manufactured for an industry.
Okay, we have this really in the background here as far as the schematic of the technology that's been available and actually been involving Ken, as I understand, over almost the last 50 years. And what you're doing is taking something that's been used in space and miniaturizing it, but at the same time be able to apply it in the industrial settings and also in natural resource extraction. So what is the type of technology you've been able to absorb out of, say, NASA and other types of technologies that can be incorporated, what you're doing, and going out into these remote areas or into an industrial setting in order to be able to produce on-site energy or something that could actually go into the grid?
Excellent. Yes, as a lot of people are aware of, you have diesel generators that power remote locations. You have they're used, these generator sets, for islands and for even military bases around the world. And now with this everyday heat process, we can in essence direct this flow of heat through our custom, or if you will, radiator design that is populated with these thermal piles, what we call thermovoltaics. And now we can create literally abundance amount of power in these locations, which will help them greatly reduce not only their reliance on diesel, but to help them to reduce their fuel costs as well.
Well, and having traveled and lived and worked in 84 different countries, about 60 of those that are developing countries, the diesel generator really is almost the grid in these areas. But looking at this graphic that we have here, the sources that are coming into it, if we can bring this up, and then the outputs through that, how do you harness all these different inputs so that actually it can be used going forward to reduce actually the carbon footprint? At the same time, it even can reduce the amount of dependency on renewables. If you can take something that's already been produced and create something as a next follow-on product, that's even better for the planet.
Excellent. It's a great point that you made there, Sam. Like you just stated there, is that not only are we able to, in essence, impact immediately the power that's produced in reducing these fuel and these emission costs, and doing it through in essence directing the flow. It's like a water wheel, if you will. We're directing the exhaust flow through hot water streams through our custom radiator designs, and now we're able to create this power. But and like I said, it's an incremental stages. I mean, you don't change the infrastructure as it is. Kind of building this bridge to the renewable future. This is a kind of a stepping stone, which allows us to take the infrastructure that's already available and then now helping make that more efficient, more green, and with a less reliance on fossil fuels.
Well, I'm going to let Daman ask the next question because he's been over here vibrating, wanting to get into the mix as far as our conversation is concerned. So, Daman?
Well, Ken, I'm really excited to, learn about what you're doing because I see a big synergy with what we are doing. In fact, I like to learn more about your system and potentially use with the cheapest fuel. We are making it from coal, so I come back to coal.
Well, good. I'm glad we've got a new partnership.
Right. Yeah, but I guess what I'm wondering is, Ken, what is the improvement and the efficiency? Because that has been part of our challenge. These based on our traditional, steam cycles or turbine cycles. Our energy efficiency is only about 30-40%. So, what kind of efficiencies can you achieve with these systems?
Well, and again, we're going back to something that's readily available, that in essence is free, and that is the heat from all these power sources. So, of course, the efficiency is important, but what we have noted, like with groups such as First Solar paved the way to us, which was a kind of one of those enlightening moments where First Solar was saying, hey, we don't have the most efficient solar panel. Everybody was trying to be a 30%, 40% more efficient product. But what they said is, hey, we've got an 11% efficient product, but our costs are going to make it we can put it all over the planet. And that's what we have done. So our product may not necessarily be the most efficient product, but our fuel is the heat that comes from every industrial application you can think of, whether it's the food, whether it is the plastics, glass. There's just so many different ways to go out and capture this heat. We are going to take advantage of this free source.
Well, the thing about this image that you've actually shared with us, Ken, many people look at this and say, look at all this pollution going up into the planet. But with tertiary scrubbers, much of this actually is steam. And I think what you're saying is what we're looking at is a renewable resource right in front of our very eyes that's actually being exhausted into the atmosphere and being wasted. Is that what you're telling us about your process?
Absolutely, yes. 2/3 of all the power that's generated in the United States, Sam, is actually wasted or lost.
2/3, that's incredible. Make that statement again, Ken.
Yes. So when you say when 2/3 of all this power is lost, I mean, now we're talking about, in the United States alone, we're at 20 terawatt hours of usage. And so now when you're in essence losing, 12 or 13 terawatts, through the exhaust stacks, and then globally that's almost 150 terawatts. So now we have enough, if we could all, figure out a way to economically capture this and recreate it or reproduce it and generate this power, you're talking being able to power in essence, 2 or 3 continents with no additional, fuel or pollution.
So what you're saying is, and we see this pie chart in front of us, Ken, about all the various sources as far as energy is concerned. This is both renewable and extractive resources, carbon-based. But at the same time, we're looking at this, and what's going on is that actually we need to be looking at this as a potential energy source in order to balance greenhouse gas emissions, production of energy, at the same time creating new jobs with new technologies. Is that what you're telling us?
That is the mission statement. That picture right there is on almost every platform, whether it's natural gas, refineries, utilities, foundries, cement. You could go on and on. That's our fuel source.
Well, we're absolutely running out of time. Where do you see Berken Energy going over the next 5, 10, 15 years? And we have to be quick. It's really exciting. We see ourselves,
complementing the existing infrastructure, making, coal sites more efficient, refiners more efficient, with, increasing them 20, 30% more power with their same heat that they use and process every day, putting these on diesel generators, and again, expanding the reach on an everyday processes that we use, and now just taking advantage of this source.
Okay, Ken, we're going to lose you. This is Ken Newman, President CEO of Berken Energy out of Colorado, and sitting right beside our special guest, Daman Walia. And thank you for being with us as we look around for creative ways to create new energy as we create the Emerald Planet.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. One lit some matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try. Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about rigged out money. Nothing very nice. Holy smile. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Why don't you just wash your car at home?
When I wash my car, everything runs down the street and down into the storm drains. With all the chemicals in the soaps and waxes, the last thing I want to do is poison my own drinking water.
At least here, it's all contained and recycled on site.
That's why I also take my car in for oil changes instead of doing it myself. I might take a chance on spilling stuff.
You know what the best part is?
What?
More time to kick back and watch the game.
How far would you go to protect the planet?
I want you to build an ark.
Here we go. Okay, that's good. Oh, okay. Ow!
Maybe there's another way.
People, the flood is imminent. Is it too much to ask for a little precipitation?
Go to fightglobalwarming.com to find out what you and your community can do to reduce global warming pollution.
Somewhere around the world, there are men and women of the armed forces risking their lives, helping rebuild communities after natural disasters, collecting toys for needy children, tutoring kids in school. These are your sons and daughters who work to keep us safe, secure, and free. Dedicated men and women who put their country first.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet. Come to you from Washington, D.C. I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, the President and Executive Director of Emerald Planet, the Emerald Planet International Foundation, and also the Director and host for the Emerald Planet TV, as we come to you on a weekly basis bringing you the best of the best, 1,000 best practices that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And we have two gentlemen that are here with me. One's coming in by Skype, the other sitting in the studio. Ken Newman, who is the President, CEO of Berken Energy out of Fort Collins, Colorado. And our special guest, who is here as a backup, is Dr. Daman S. Walia, President, CEO of ARCTECH, Inc. in Washington, D.C. So welcome, Ken, coming in by Skype. And Daman, thank you for being in the studio.
Thank you.
And what we're going to be talking about in this particular program, and we're going to have kind of a three-way exchange here, but really what we're talking about is capturing all this waste energy. And Ken, you've been telling me that out of everything that's being generated, the billions of dollars that we're spending on energy, almost 2/3 of it's wasted. And so looking at Berken Energy, what's the history of that? And then let's talk a little bit about how we're going to capture some of that. And we're going to bring Dr. Walia into the conversation. But tell us about your organization and all this wasted energy and how you see that as a market. Then let's bring up this first image if we can, because this is really part of the story. And what people see as pollution, you're seeing this as an energy source, Ken, I believe.
That's right. And again, in previous years, the heat has been there and it's been readily available. Whether people viewed it as pollution or as just an exhaust stack or a flue. But what we see this is an absolute way to help changing not only the environment, but to decrease again the amount of fossil fuels that are needed. So and again, for us to now be able to harness this flare. So to us, it's a stepping process where one step is, yes, now we can capture it and turn it into power. But now that we've captured this flare, what can we do with it? So we're in some exciting discussions with a couple of different organizations that can literally help us start, not only harnessing these flares and these exhaust and this pollution, but now we can actually start adding some scrubbers, which you've defined, some of these SCR ammonia scrubbers, and there's other things we can now do. Now that we've captured this source, we now have ways we can go out and start reducing the amount of pollution that's there, while still creating the electricity that's readily available from this heat source. And the picture you have up now is in essence from outer space, is a picture of North Dakota.
Yeah, let's bring this
just
photograph
in that area
back
alone,
up. There we
you
go.
have
Thank
over $100 million a month that is literally burned natural gas. And so what's exciting to us is now we can turn that $100 million that's being thrown away into a way to create some electricity that we all could use.
Well, I know that what you're looking at is the flaring process and the way to maybe even eliminate flaring at these various wellheads looking for crude oil, natural gas, both. But also, too, Ken, you've expanded beyond that. You're looking at really the entire industrial base of the United States and the globe, looking at the steel mill as an example as being an energy source of going in and powering the factories where these are actually located, but also putting it into the grid. So what we are looking at, instead of looking at this is wasted energy, you want to go and capture that. What is the process of doing all this?
And every one of these heat sources has a flow, and whether it is the heat from the exhaust as it's burning these gases and coals and diesel fuels, and nuclear or whatever the actual fuel source is, or they've got now hot liquids that have come from these processes from the industrial side. So now we are literally whether it's a liquid or a gas, we're flowing these through these custom radiator designs that we have created, and now what we are doing is generating the power as we are flowing this stream of heat through our custom boxes. And like in this one example you have up on the screen here, we've identified just in the refinery alone with the major oil company at least 4 or 5 recovery points. We can save them $1 million a day on their electricity just from their everyday refining process.
That is an incredible statement, Ken. That's just absolutely incredible. Let's go back to this slide and put this up with you here. But what you're saying is there just in one plant, there's that kind of waste of energy that we actually could be putting into the grid to take care of the nation's need. And this is for all over the globe, too. Is that correct?
Oh, yes. Actually, what was really helpful is actually this major refiner helped us. We showed them, what we were up to, and they came back and said, hey, we've got 600 megawatts that we are throwing away every day. Can you help us harness it? And we're like, 600 megawatts. I mean, as we know, a megawatt will power, maybe 500 to 700 homes in the United States. So when somebody's throwing away that kind of money, we thought we would certainly want to help them find a solution.
Well, I think it's absolutely incredible. And as you know, we have Dr. Daman Walia sitting right beside me. Daman, why don't you ask the next question?
Well, yeah, Ken, that's really fantastic. But how does your technology help groups who use gas turbine generators?
And we know we earlier in the previous segment we touched on briefly about the remote locations in these gas turbines. In essence, they're big jet engines, and so initially what we can go out and do is assist in helping them reduce the electrical cost, as far as help them reduce their additional diesel needs, maybe 20 or 30% reduction. But the long-term effects of that is the supply chain that we spoke about. Is now not only how are you saving them the diesel, but how did they were able to get their hands on the diesel? It took diesel trucks. It took maybe ships or rail cars to get them to them. It took a refining process. So it's not just the 30% we saved on their fuel cost. We're talking about maybe even a longer-term impact, which again, maybe that's 50% plus when you add this supply chain in, and you also look at the pollution that we're able to save from this entire step.
Well, looking at the pollution, this is the whole thing of reducing the carbon footprint, and what you're talking about, Ken, is to try to make the distribution model as lean as possible, reduce the amount of greenhouse gas emissions into the planet, but also at the same time lower cost not only to the industries themselves, but also to society, the taxpayers within United States or any society around the globe. But looking at this, I think also your technology is looking at geothermal and other heat sources from within the ground itself. And I think this is something that we totally miss. We think about, wind and solar and hydrogen and also wave energy, but we don't really think about us actually standing, sitting, and housing ourselves right over top of a tremendous energy source. What is this map telling us about the United States specifically?
This is we were talking about bridging this renewable future and this incremental stages, and to us this is the kind of the bigger prize, the bigger picture is that as we all are standing on this incredible heat source, the crust, the mantle, right? I mean, we've got an enormous sun at underneath our feet. And why aren't we all taking advantage of this? I mean, now you're getting more geothermal, like heat pumps, and there are some geothermal sites, but because we can create electricity, which we haven't even spoke about, at a far less a temperature than conventional geothermal. So normally when you think of geothermal, you think of Nevada, California, Yuma, Arizona, a few hot areas, Yellowstone, which good luck putting a geothermal plant there. But now when we can go out and start capturing this heat and creating power at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, this opens up all 48 states. So now we don't have to worry about having these big smokestacks in our backyard burning coal or gas or a nuclear plant. Now we can have an empty warehouse in Washington, D.C. or in Chicago and literally start creating power for the whole area. And to us, this is very exciting, opening up all 48 states to an abundant source right below our feet.
Well, looking at that whole thing, Ken, I think it's really exciting because what you're talking about is this new movement towards distributive energy, distributive power, where you're generating from within the local community. What are some of the benefits of going, in essence, off-grid and allowing communities within themselves to be able to generate this power that they actually need on a day-to-day basis, and how dependable would it be?
Well, again, your first part of the question is independence, self-reliance. What a great feeling to be, free and not having to worry about the transmission, because what most people don't realize is that for the electricity to get from the power plant to your home, about 30% of that is wasted. It's lost. So now if we have it right there local, we just again saved ourselves 30% of the power we were burning. And then into these next steps, as far as what you're talking about as well, I'm so excited about it, Sam. I've got so much to tell you. I feel like I've.
Well, you have less than 1 minute to do all this excitement, so I want Daman to have his last question, and then but we need to be quick in our answer, Ken.
Okay, thank you,
Daman.
Well, Ken, how are you going about, taking your technology and services and, promoting them into the real-world applications?
What we're doing is we're working with
15 seconds.
The traditional distribution, people that have built refineries, people that have set up, these different industrial sites, whether it's fracking, coal, these flaring sites, and we've gone to them and say, hey, you all have an incredible system and setup. We would like to be an appliance that kind of gets in the flow of your heat that you create. And
where is Berken going to be in the next 10 to 15 years, Ken?
Pardon?
Where is Berken going to be in the next 5 to 10 years? Be quick.
We're going to be growing rapidly.
All right, good answer.
All right.
Okay, Ken Newman, President and CEO of Berken Energy, came in by Skype. And Daman, thank you for being with us. You bless us every time we see you with your presence. And thank you for being with us as we talk about all these exciting technologies that are going to lead us the way as we create the Emerald Planet.